if I'm being very transparent, just to chat because I'm really proud of myself. I just turned in my thesis, which I know I already shared it everywhere, so you may already know this. This may not be new information. But I'm so excited and happy. Because if you know me, I chose Harvard because of the particular departments of social studies and African American studies. Literally, it came down to that, came down to the professors I got to be in community with. And so to be at a point where I'm not graduated yet, but to be at a point in which I've hit this really big milestone is really exciting for me, because it feels like I have fulfilled a commitment to myself, you know? It's a long-term commitment, but the social studies department gives you a lot of freedom to study what you want. The exchange is that it's thesis mandatory, and so you get to explore whatever project. And so I am a concentrator in Black political thought under neocolonialism. So to be able to take something as lofty as that and to be able to write a project on somebody that I was learning about, Sylvia Wynter, to feel like I've grown, and to feel like I'm learning more and more is really exciting. It's a nice way for my personal senior year to conclude. And also, side note, I don't often talk about my schedule in my life. I think I usually keep it pretty succinct, like, oh yeah, I'm busy. And it takes a lot of support. I have so much support. I cannot underplay that, you know. In many ways, I in no way do this by myself. Today I was surprised by my mama and my auntie, who we call Dr. Professor, who came in just to be here, to be supportive, to help me just get across the finish line. And that's just an example of the kind of love and support I receive daily from my family and from my team. But I say that to say, I don't often talk about what school entails for me. I feel like I just started talking about the fact that I go to school. I know a lot of people were like, did she ever go? Yes, friends, I went. I've been going. But this week was crazy. If you saw on my Instagram, Mommy and I were, so I had some work. Then we went to Paris for 24 hours, came back. I had 48 hours to work on my thesis, then pack. Then we flew, did 36 hours in Dubai, came back for me to have 48 hours back on campus to wrap up my thesis, which was crazy. So I'm just happy I did it. And I don't know about you all, but I'm somebody that is particularly hard on myself, you know? And so weirdly, the biggest part of me finishing my thesis is this reaction right now. Instead of keeping track of all of the things I wish I did better, keeping track of how I could have done a better job, been more consistent, been more thorough. Trust me, I went through all of that, but instead of living in that right now, which is honestly what I usually do when I have a big project like this, I'm just happy that I'm happy. I'm just happy that I'm happy that it's done and that I feel like I poured a lot into it. And sure, there's definitely going to be times in which I go back and read it and I'm like, geez, friend, what was I thinking? But for now, I'm content. I'm content with what I did. So yeah, that is me. That is my life. That is my update. And I am really grateful for all the support I got on here too. You know, it may sound cheesy, but I genuinely really do appreciate how many of you actively support my academic journey, actively support every random thing I end up going off to do. You know, that's something that I definitely pay attention to, and to feel like, you know, in my work life, in my school life, in my personal life, people have really paved the way for me to be able to pursue school fully, even though I have a full-time career, and more than that, have given me the space to be a nerd and to not feel bad about it. And they ask me about my thesis or ask me about school when they see me. Like, all those things really do mean a lot to me, to think that you all care so much as to even think about it, or to even hit me with a good luck or a proud of you. It's cool. So, as it's Zoe's senior year, it's mine too. And it is, to be completely shallow, nice to end senior year with some clear skin, a written thesis, great family, and I also want to apologize to every friend I have not responded to in my texts. This is officially me coming out and back into society, because when I tell you all I did for the top of the year would be study, write, work, study, write, work, eat, study, write, work, eat. I had way too much chocolate, but I know there are a lot of you that I owe phone calls, and I appreciate the love, and I can't wait to be back out in the world and see people and have a good time, you know? People that know me know I'm a total homebody, and have never really had a desire to go out and do much. But it was so funny because when I hit 20, I finally had this urge to be like, oh, I kind of want to be out in the world doing things, going on adventures. I don't even know what adventures entail. Going to New York, IDK. But I finally had the urge to go out in the world and not be like dragged out into the world, and just to have a good time. And it was really funny because as soon as I finally developed that instinct, that feeling that I literally have never had. I am in bed by 10 p.m. type of person, don't have much desire to be out in big crowds type of person, still don't. But long story short, this is a tangent. Long story short, I finally am like, oh my God, I can't wait to be out in the world. Pandemic times. Now, given the pandemic shutting down my social life is like the least harmful thing it did, so I'm not complaining, but the way that forced me back into my homebody ways, and so now that my thesis is done, and I do have a whole ton of work coming, but at least I'm not going to be full-time schooling and full-time working in the near future. I'm starting to get that little excitement again of like, ooh, I get to go out into the world, and I can drive now. I mean, it's on and popping. There's so much to do. I gotta come up with my to-do list. I was gonna say bucket list, but that felt ominous. So I need to come up with the Yara is less busy to-do list of things to do in LA and around the world. I'm excited. Because for a really long time, especially with this year, I was really just kind of mourning the loss of school. You know, I've so enjoyed my time here, and it feels like it's gone by so quickly to come back to campus and to be a senior and to be wrapping up when it felt like I was just settling in. Was definitely a little strange, and so I spent a lot of time being upset. And not to say in the next some months I won't be upset again or in my feelings again or like, dang, this went fast again, but at least for the time being, I finally have that little, ooh, it's kind of cool to be done. Like, it's kind of cool that I did this, and it's coming to the end, and I'm hitting the next phase of my life, whatever that may be. So this was one very long Instagram live in which the moral of the story is I'm a happy camper. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud that I'm proud of myself. Thank you all for listening. I don't know if there are any questions to answer. I always do this where I'm like, oh, let me answer some questions, and then have a trouble. Do you have to debate your thesis in front of a crowd? Yes. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to debate my thesis. I have to defend my thesis. So that'll be good. Okay, well that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.